Ooh. All right, party people. I still ain't shaved. I know I was supposed to shave, y'all. I'm out here looking like the daggone Walrus from the cartoons and stuff. I'm serious. Just had to put some Vaseline on the lips. Got to keep the lips moisturized and all that. But shoot, I know I'm looking scruffy as all get out. Just pure scruff, pure scruff. So what's going on, party people? Ah, man, let me see what we got going on here. Ah, let me throw a little music in the background while people hop on here. Okay. Wow. Hmm. Oh yeah. Let's break that bad boy down. All right, what's going on, Notary Giant? My man Jeff tearing it up out there in California, running the show. Probably the number one notary in California right now. All right. Listening to the smooth sultry music of Griffin Notary Services. All right. Oh man, how's everybody day been? Talk to me, man. This week has been wild. This month has been wild. It's been so many cancellations. Oh, okay, you on TikTok? Gotcha. So this month has been wild with all kinds of stuff going on. Orders canceling, people calling me up. I see you, Leilan. I see you. All right. I got orders is canceling. I got orders being rescheduled. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. And I mean, I think I'm already at maybe 10 to 12 reschedules slash cancellations of orders this month. But what's weird is that every single time the orders got canceled, turn my music off. Every single time I lose an order, I end up picking up another one right away. So what that shows is that there's a lot of work out here. So I mean, I'm at 36 or 37 orders for just the first 15 days. Okay. The first 15 days of the month. I know I'm at least at 36, might be 30, no, 36. I'm at 36 because excuse me, one that I had for tomorrow. I had four tomorrow. I'm down to three. Got moved to Monday. The guy was not available. So they said it's an assumption. So it's no rush on, no big rush on that. So it moved to Monday. But I mean, 36 in the first 15 days, to me, that is awesome. And that's with me having about 10 to 12 cancellations, okay, slash reschedules. And it's been more cancellations or where they reschedule it, I couldn't do it. And things just sort of fell off and it's like, boom. But then something else popped in. So, like Monday, I had an order that canceled on me. And right, I would say 5 or 10 minutes after it canceled, I get an email from one of my direct clients saying, hey, can you do a quick power of attorney for us? We'll drop a C note on you. I was like, boom, no problem. Went and did that. So, and that was $20 more than what I was getting paid for the other closing, for the actual closing. Did a 2-page, one signature POA for $100. This is what we have out here from time to time, and it was Ron. So you just got to be ready to rock and roll at any point in time with this business, and the flexibility. If you can create the flexibility, I'm telling you, you will have some great success in this business. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, even if you are full time in the business, some people just like they just don't have the flexibility, or they want to try to manage when they do the orders that fits them. And see, the problem is that some people got too much stuff going on. Yep, I see you in there, Leland. Got too much stuff going on to the point that they can't actually focus and concentrate on the notary business. And that's one of the fallacies that I found when I first started doing business early on years ago, is that if I had too much stuff going on, I couldn't really dedicate myself to anything. So I had to start learning, okay, let me take stuff one piece at a time. Now, there are human beings out here who can do multiple businesses at one time. Now, I'm a person, I can do multitasking inside of a business, but when it comes to running a whole bunch of other businesses, that's where it gets a little tight. So, and especially depending on what kind it is that demands your attention and all of that. So, I'm gonna bring my friend Leilan up here so she can give y'all some words of encouragement about this notary business. So let's see if we get what we got going on with Miss Leilan. How you doing, Miss Leilan? You can just unmute your mic if you're ready to chop it up with us for a little bit. What's going on with you, lady?
Hi, Griff. How you doing?
I'm doing
I'm
wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So what encouraging words do you have for a lot of these new notaries?
Stay diligent. Have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to say they come into the business with all these big dreams, goals, and aspirations, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You have to have a plan. Just some type of roadmap that you build for yourself, so that you can follow the path and you know be able to ask your right questions along the way. Make sure that you find a mentor, um, a group like us here,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can have some experts to, ping ideas off of it. If you're not sure, call us and ask. Um,
Now, what's one of the things? Well, first of all, I've never asked you this question. How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business since 2008. I became a notary. I became an agent in 2015.
Okay. So you've been in this thing a minute. Okay, great.
Wait a minute.
So for you, and I think you're out of New York or New Jersey. I keep forgetting which one.
New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. I'm a
Okay, so
tri-state
you're
notary.
so you that's right. You try commission in all three of those.
Yes.
So for you, what has been the biggest eye-opening thing that you realized that you needed to do for your business to succeed? So after you've heard all of the stuff that's out here, seen all of the stuff that people say about this business, what was the one thing that you realized for your business that you needed to do in order to make it pop, or maybe you saw it popping and to keep it going in the right direction? What was something or things that you saw and you said, you know what, this is what I need to do, irregardless of what everybody else has said?
Um, I want to say stay on the path of my why.
Okay,
Why am I
got
in
that.
this industry? Why did I want to do this? Um, I want to think when my day gets hard and the road gets hard and I just don't feel like things are going my way. I try to revert back to why am I doing this? Um, because it helps to refocus me. When I first started, there was no training out there. There was all these groups that you guys have available to you now is wonderful. Once upon a time, these things weren't available to us. We had to figure this out from scratch, and I was one of those figuring out from scratch notaries. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the beginning, I wasn't sure. I became a signing agent because my children left the home.
Gotcha.
Empty nest syndrome. So I just needed something to fill up my time. I wasn't sure if this was going to be real or what, but
Mm-hmm.
I followed the path and I just took time to see where everything was, where the tracks was laying itself. And, I just followed it and, it brought me here. I didn't bring myself here. I want to say my service brought me here. just by
Mm-hmm.
following, my phone started ringing more, have my name out there. Went from making $200 a month to making, eventually making $1,000 a month, and then on to more. And along all those steps, I try to make notes of those steps, so the people behind me, I can bring up a little bit quicker. And I'm an admin by default. Um, and I train a lot. I like to take in a lot of information. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm us notaries, and I want to say all of us are people who like to give back. That's one reason why we're in this business. We like to give back. We like to help. We like to be of
That's
assistance.
true.
Um, so I just allow that to move me. I like to help people, and I like to see my name on their mortgage to know that I helped them to close this deal, or to secure that child in their home, or make sure their parent or loved one is safe. Um, through certain documentations that they may need. I just like to help, and I have to remember my why. When my days get hard.
Mm-hmm. That is that is good because I think right now a lot of people their why is they say that for a lot of people their why was money. I just need to make some money, but sometimes that's not enough when things get tough or when you get challenging
Right,
notary assignments.
right.
The why of making money because we'll say, no, I don't. You know what? I don't need money that bad because we do that in our W-2. So
Hmm.
you know that okay, I can go and get this promotion to make about $10,000 more, but that means I'm gonna have to let go of this, and this. I can't hang out with the fellas. I can't hang out with my girls. Nah, I don't need money that bad. I'm good. I'm good.
Sacrifices. Yes, we
Hmm.
will definitely make sacrifices in this business. Especially when you're trying to grow your business. There's days,
Right.
yep, you're right. You want to go hang out. It's Friday. It's 8 o'clock. It's club night. You know, but you
And
got
you
that
need to,
assignment at
yeah.
8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you need to be prepared for it. Yeah, it is. It is a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice for your business. And
Hmm.
I want to think it's something every entrepreneur or anyone who's thinking about doing this full time and doing this as their own business, has to consider. The late nights that um, we're up late. I mean, we're not working. We might not be doing notary work, but we're doing our bookkeeping. You know,
Hmm.
where we're crafting these videos because I'm sure the editing is not no quick 1, 2, 3 to do.
Right.
We try to make it look seamless, but it does take time, and you have to find the time to do a lot of these little nuances in your business. A lot of them are tedious. Some of them you don't want to do. I hate bookkeeping, but it's a requirement.
True.
People call me up. I'm there at your door, but I might have to hunker myself down to do my bookkeeping because I don't like that piece. Um,
Right.
and you're going to find yourself, you know, nobody has to like it, but everybody has to do it. Um,
Correct.
Spaces in this business we chose.
And what I found is that for the people coming into this business, if they've never really got into the habit of pushing themselves beyond their personal feelings to get something done, they're not going to do that in this business. They come into the business because the TMCs, as I call them, these trainer mentor coaches out here, make the business seem easy, make the business seem very, very lucrative. All you got to do is show up and have a notary stamp. But
Yep,
the moment you get one of those $200 signings and things are starting to go a little south and somebody didn't do the numbers right and somebody forgot to do this and you're like, well, I'm just, you know what, I can't wait, I gotta go pick my kids. Oh, you can't, what do you mean pick your kids up? We paying you $200,
you're
we
at a
expect you to
closing.
stay.
You're there with the attorney.
Mm-hmm.
You can't leave until funding is done. Funding
Right.
did not happen 10 minutes later. Funding
Yeah.
happened an hour and a half later, and you cannot leave. You are absolutely not allowed to leave until then. Um, so,
Until it's done.
every course, you have to have a backup plan. You got to have a contingency. You go to that
Mm-hmm.
appointment at 1 o'clock. Your kids get out of school at 3 o'clock. Hey, great. You got plans to be there? Fine. You're not getting out until 3:05. You better have that backup. Someone that you
Yep.
can call to say, can you meet my kid at the bus stop? I'll be
Correct.
able to, be there ASAP. or just plan your day accordingly. And sometimes unfortunately, you have to say no if you don't think your timeline can match with it.
Correct. And that's what I found. So it's like, and see, this is why I always say there's nothing wrong with working direct. But what I found is that when you work direct, once you're in that office with them, because they're depending on you, there's no, I'm out. Never mind. Especially if it's nothing egregious. It's just that there's documents that come late or the signers get there late and they're expecting you to be there because especially if you marketed to them and told them you're going to be there, they expect you to be there. So when you're not used to pushing yourself beyond your personal feelings of backing down, because we all got it. It's like we go to a certain level and then it's like, you know what, never mind. If you're not used to pushing yourself beyond that, when you get your own business, where regardless of what it is, and you have to do that to make a dollar, you might not do it because you're like, I don't want to, because you're not used to doing it. And the thing is, that's something that you have to do internal. And guess what? There's nobody around to clap for you for doing it. There's nobody to give you pats on the back. There's nobody to give you a little ribbon or to give you a bump in your pay or to give you a day off for doing what you needed to do, which was go beyond that point of quit. So now what are you going to do? If you know you need to do it, but if you're looking for somebody to make you feel good for doing what you needed to do, that's not going to be there when you're a business owner. You just got to do it. If you're looking for your spouse, they're be like, okay, keep going. You're looking for your kids, you're looking for your dog, they're going to be like, you do you. You make sure that's what you want to do, go do it. So
I agree.
Right.
And something else that, we don't think, I mean, this is something that I did think about in doing this full time. I worked for a corporate office. When things went great, my boss got all the credit. And when things went wrong, I got all the credit.
Right.
And in being my own boss and being my own business, I get all the kudos, but I also get all the grit. You have to be able to own, your flaws. Because we don't start off flawless. I don't want you to think any of us up here on stage or that may have started off flawless. We don't start off flawless. We're going to have errors. We're going to have issues and things that we just have to overcome. And you have to suck it up. You didn't sign that document right. You got to go back. You got to fix it. You have to own the fact that you missed something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you did it right, you did it absolutely pat yourself on the back. I just know I did a lot of projects at my day job, and granted, I worked on them. My boss got all the credit for them because I am AKA his, his person.
Yeah.
But here we get to shine. But
yeah, and I agree with you.
Pat on the back or try to look for, some of us are accustomed to having approval. There is no approval here.
No.
There is no approval here. This is your business, and the only person that needs approval of what you're doing is you. And and knock on wood, you're sure at what you're doing. And if you're not, again, this is what we're here for.
Right. No, I agree with you on that because I don't know if people still doing it, but back in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, I kept seeing notaries getting online talking about, and sometimes they would call me, should I call the signing company to find out if I did good? And I'm like, no. If you're not getting a call saying you screwed something up, then you did good. I said, y'all got to realize they got other orders going down and they don't have time to give you a report card. Then you had the notaries concerned about, getting having their, I guess, their notary grade. And I'm like, as a business owner, all I care about is, are you paying me? You may not like me.
Progressive reports here. There is no progress reports at the end of the year. There is no bonuses attached to a piece of paperwork on your work performance.
Mm-hmm.
What what your kudos is for your work performance is more work. Because
Right, because they'll turn on you.
Your demerit for not doing good work is less business. So
And
that's your incentive. Your incentive is to do good, so people want to call you, so people can look you up and they're just like, hey, you're wonderful, you're great. Versus having that reputation of no show, don't go back and fix errors, or just any of the other little things that just might give you a bad reputation and lessen your business.
correct, because I've had situations where I've done plenty of work for various signing companies, and the moment they think I made a mistake, they don't approach me like, "Hey, Griff, wanted to ask you about such and such and such." It's, "Hey, this happened, and why didn't this happen? Why did you do this?" I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 where y'all coming from?" And then it's like, "Oh, never mind, never mind, never mind. We figured it out. It wasn't on you." I'm like, "Okay, but when you thought it was me, it was how, not, hey, let's talk and let me ask you." None of that.
And you have to be ready to fight for your business, to advocate for yourself. Because yes, some of these companies will come at you and they will, accuse you of not doing something right. Let me say that word. And all I can say is, if anything goes wrong at the table ever, make a note. Make sure you have it in writing.
Yeah.
Something. I had a client that sent in a personal check, and I had everybody calling me up about the fact that, oh, you let him send a personal check? No. Mr. So-and-so authorized me to allow him to send a personal check. Here's the email where we spoke about it. I didn't make any choices on my own. So you have to be able to advocate for yourself. You have to be able to know what you know and know if you're right. And again, sometimes you're wrong. Be just willing to go and fix it. I just like to know what's wrong about it, so I don't make the same error twice.
Yeah. Now, the topic I was going to talk about was, should you question these trainer, mentor, coaches? In other words, when they're teaching stuff and you decided to go into their session, whether it's for free or you paid for it, you hear something, and even if you're brand new, some of us are smart enough and have enough experience that when you hear certain things, something inside you said, wait a minute, that might not be right, or there's more to it. And the reason why I bring the subject up is because I've talked to a lot of notaries, and they tell me, when I explain certain things to them, they say, you know what? I was thinking the same thing, but I ain't say nothing. And I'm like, why not? Because if you paid money for information and you feel the information isn't right, why don't you ask a question? Because if you pay for something for your child, you paying for private school for your child or some kind of tutoring or whatever, and you feel that your child isn't getting the best out of what you paid for, what do? You ask questions. When you go to the restaurant, you don't feel you're getting the best service. You're like, we need to have a conversation. So with regards to a business, if you're trying to gain knowledge and somebody's saying, come over here and I will educate you, but you start seeing or you find out that something ain't right, in order for our business to be successful and for clarity's sake, especially, yeah,
I was thinking clarification.
you need to know. You need to be, for clarity, make sure, because if you execute what they say and it's not right, it's on you.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of us who say, I want to start getting employees. So now you start trying to run a company and you want employees. Well, those employees are depending on you to provide them with the proper information and guidance to do their job. So if you're telling them something incorrect that you heard from somebody over here and you never vetted it, and you get them in a situation to where they get in trouble because they've implemented something and broke state law or whatever, that's not good. So I think a lot of the confusion would go away if you just ask questions. Just ask for clarity. Like, okay, you said that we need to do this. Where does it say that in my state law that I should do that? Where does it say in your state law? Why do you feel that needs to be done? Case in point, excuse me, still got a little bit of that cough left. I was talking to a gentleman, I don't know, and I found some really good cough medicine, and it's working. It was a little bit worse than this, but it's really good. It's all natural too. I have to do a video about it this weekend. But I talked to a guy 3-4 years ago. He called me out of the blue. He told me, he said, Griff, here's something you need to tell the people on your YouTube channel. If you ever get a closing and the closing gets canceled, once you get there, in order to get your full pay, all you got to do is fill out the U.S. Patriot Act and they'll pay you your full pay. I said, where did you get that information from? Oh, yeah, my trainer told me. I said, you need to tell me who that person is. And he like, no, I ain't gonna tell you who it was. I said,
I wouldn't even ask him about the trainer. I want to ask him, where do you see that in writing?
Correct. Now, back then I wasn't thinking that.
I need source.
But he said somebody trained, because see, I was like, I want to get to the trainer. Like, where is that at? So I said, so this guy was going around telling people this, that all you have to do is fill out the U.S. Patriot Act. If you print the documents, show up at a signing, and for some reason it cancels, all you got to do is fill out the U.S. Patriot Act and send that into the signing company, and they're going to pay you your full fee. I said, where did you get that from?
I'm just trying to figure out how does that even make sense.
Right. I said, that don't make sense. I ain't never heard from him again after that. But I was like, dude, I said, see, that kind of stuff you can't be going around saying. You know, just like I've you know, some people have come on, you know, have contacted me over it. I would say every few months I get contacted by people wanting to come on the channel and talk about their training or their programs they have. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want to share with people? And almost every single time they want to share stuff with how notaries can go and have classes at facilities, whether retirement facilities or rehab or in a hospital, and tell people how, you know, to go about getting documents for a will and power of attorney and all that. And I said, wait a minute. I said, are you allowed to do that in your state? Most of the time they say, well, I don't know. I mean, I just do it. I said, well, in Virginia, we're not allowed to do that. I said, it would be disingenuous of me and completely wrong for me to have you come on and talk about something that I personally know is not allowed in my state. And you want to get people to train with you, and you want to teach them something that is not correct in my state. I said, that would not be right for me to introduce you to those people, and you don't even know if you're legally allowed to do it in your state. I said, if you're going to, I said, oh, go ahead on.
No, I said that's right, and that's understood. I find that most trainers tend to train from the middle of the room.
Right.
You know, they
I like that.
They're not specific. So the information they give you is general, just general information. And from that general information, you need to dissect it. Again, you need to dissect it with your laws and see what matches up. Because the rules in one state is not the rules in the next state. And if you go to some place with the wrong rules in mind, you are going to get the wrong outputs. And the wrong outputs will, again, demerit your business.
And that is absolutely correct. And see, a lot of people always accuse me of trying to stop people from making money. No, what I'm doing is trying to encourage the trainers, mentors, and coaches to make sure that when you put information out, to me, especially if you're teaching cross borders, state lines, that you make sure that what you share with people, especially since we're supposed to be this family of notaries, that the information you share with a family member over here doesn't cause them some financial hardship. And you saying, well, look, that's on them. I mean, they need to figure that out for themselves. I'm like, okay, but why don't you help them? Why don't you guide them? Well, see, that ain't, I'm no. So I'm like, okay, so you just want to basically regurgitate a bunch of information that you got stored up in your head somewhere, but you don't want to be responsible for it, but you
Right.
want people to be responsible before they come to you. But in your presentation to them, you never said that. You never said, hey, you need to go make sure you understand notarizations first. You don't even talk about it. You just say, come be with me and give me some money, and I'm gonna teach you everything you know. And I will tell y'all simply this: if anybody ever presents to y'all, come to y'all with this attitude of come to me and I'm gonna teach you everything you know, in my opinion, they're lying. I'm gonna just say it straight up, because they can't say they're gonna teach you everything you need to know for this business, because if they're not in your state and they don't want to take time out to understand what's going on in your state, how can they teach you everything you need to know
I
when your
agree.
state? You see
I
what I'm
agree.
saying? Now they can teach you everything that they have learned about, in, like Leilan said, in a general sense of having a notary business, but they can't necessarily teach you everything you need to know
You're
because
specific.
they don't know your state laws.
You know, I want to say, you know, one of my mentees and colleagues, you know, had opened up the NNA primer, you know, telling me about the NNA primer. Well, NNA primer says you can't do XYZ. And I opened up the law book, and absolutely, why can't you? So I don't know who's writing these books or who these informations are coming from, but just during COVID, I learned a lot that they don't know. You know, excuse me, I learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
about what they don't know. You know, I actually find us giving them calls and actually educating them on laws in my state, because they're telling me I can do something, and I'm just like, well, it's not here. Can you just show me where? And
Right.
they can't. Versus they already have it pre-printed in these books that's going out, and because they're the NNA, people are holding it like the Holy Grail, and the information is incorrect because it's not specific to their state.
That is correct. Because the NNA, and if somebody asked me a question when I was on Instagram today, live, talking about the same topic about should we ask trainers questions, and they said about the primer, and I said the way I'm seeing the NNA writes their books, the primers and stuff like that, um, state primers and like the U.S. primer. I got the U.S. primer back here behind me, the U.S. primer. The way that I see that they write these books is that they will quote, they will make a statement, and if it has in parentheses some type of like NHP, HNP, Handbook for Notary Public, HNP 22-5, that's just a reference to where that came from. But the problem is it's not the full statement for that particular statute. It's a summary sometimes of it, or a portion of it. So if you read it and just go by what it says in the book, you're not necessarily getting the full picture. So you have to go to the actual state statute. But then on the statements that they have in here that doesn't have a reference to it, what I've learned is that sometimes it's what they deem best practices. It's not, there's nothing that says that's actually true, but in their opinion, based on whatever information they have in their years of experience, this is best practice. So now you're like, okay, I'm getting a portion of my state law and I'm getting best practices, but does any of that give me the answer that I need? And in some cases, the answer is no. So this is where you got to go to your state statute and start digging in. And when you start reading it and digging in, and then the biggest thing, if you see a word in your state statute that you don't understand, you need to pull up Chat GPT or Gemini AI or DeepSeek and put that word in and say, what does this word mean? Because the moment you understand the definition of that word, it's going to help you to understand that state statute.
Right.
That's what you have to do. And that's what I've done over and over and over again. I read it and I'm like, I don't know what that word means. Okay, now I'm reading it with the knowledge and the understanding of what this word means. Okay, now it's clear. Now I get it. Okay, now I understand what this means in reference to that. Boom, boom, and it just starts making sense. But most of us don't want to do that. So therefore, we're depending and relying on these TMCs to do what? Tell us what we need to know. And the problem is some of the TMCs don't know the definitions of some of these words. That's why when it comes to the notary part, they stay away from that. They stay in their wheelhouse, which is marketing, Canva, Google My Business. And my thought has always been, if you can teach me how to figure out the algorithm of Google, why you can't help me understand how to properly notarize signatures on a document, which is much less complicated than Google's algorithm.
Yes.
You see, so that's hold on. You can ask any questions to add it, so that's the thing. So I learned that, okay, I got to ask questions for clarity because it's my business. And if you're asking me to either give you money or give you my time to hear you run your mouth about the notary business, then I have a right to ask you questions so that way I can make sure that what you're saying is applicable to me. If you tell me, oh, just drop it in a Facebook group or go over here on this Instagram or go talk to these people. No, 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 no. I'm asking you. I'm asking you. You came out and marketed yourself and said, I got the answers for you. I got information that can help you. So why would I go and talk to someone else who's on the same level as me trying to get there? You marketed yourself. That person over there that you were directing me to, even if they got more experience than me, they didn't say that that's what they wanted to do. You said you wanted to educate me. So I'm asking you to educate me. And I think it's our right to hold those individuals accountable, because when you start asking questions, now they got to explain themselves. And if they're not willing to explain themselves, then it's like, I got to break camp. I got to leave you alone. Now, could that affect their money? Yeah, it could.
It's going to.
But that,
especially if you paid for the service.
right. But that's what happens when if you go to a restaurant, you go to a doctor, you go to a dentist, you go to an auto mechanic, and you start asking questions like, okay, I brought the car in for a tune-up for the engine. And when I came in, and as I was walking by the garage, I see all 4 of my tires off and the brakes are on the ground. Oh, well, we decided we were just going to go on and change the brakes for you. That's going to be another $125 per tire. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why did you do that when I didn't? And if they don't want to answer that, that's a problem. So my thing is, in other aspects of our life, we ask people questions concerning things related to our money, but we're not doing it with this notary business. We want to act like, oh, they're just so trustworthy. I know they're trustworthy. You just want to believe that, but your heart of hearts, your gut of guts say, nah, because I don't know you. And matter of fact, it's simply this. And I tell young ladies this all the time. Any man that's out here doing training, if that man came home with your husband and your husband said, Leilan, I just met Fred here at the grocery store, and he told me I can make $10,000 a month as a notary. You would beat Fred down and your husband because you're like, wait a minute. Hold up, what? But the same person, and the same thing goes for a man on the flip side. You hear somebody that you have never met on YouTube, Instagram, or somewhere, and they tell you can make all this money, and you're like, okay, here you go. Here's my card. And you never question them when you don't get nowhere near any of what they said. That's the part that blows my mind. I don't understand that at all. Now, Addie said, what specific question should we ask? Question should we ask the TMC? Anything that you're not sure about, anything that doesn't seem right. If they're telling you and my biggest thing, they sitting here saying, okay, well, yeah, to be successful as a notary, you need to be able to articulate stuff about the documents. Okay, would that be deemed as the unauthorized practice of law in my state? Well, I don't know. Okay, then if you don't know, then why are you telling me to do something you're not sure about?
Well, the first questions that I want to ask them about them. I want to know, why am I choosing you versus somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
What are you bringing to me? You telling me I can make 10,000? All right, great. How? What's the plan? What's the strategy? What's the structure? And how long have you been doing this? And how much have you made? And because again, you have those who, yeah, they're making house look very nice because they're just selling courses. They're not actually out there doing the work.
Correct.
They're a brand new
Correct.
notary who decided they wanted to bypass the notary piece and become that mentor or agent, and they don't have all the answers.
That is
And
correct.
I'll be damned if I pay you to still have to go into a group of everybody and ask a question, because I'm paying you so I can have exclusive right to ask you questions.
That is 100% right. And see, basically 3 years ago, let me pull this up on screen. 3 years ago, I had did this video called questions to ask your notary trainer before dropping money on them, because people was calling me and was saying, yeah, I wish I would have asked them these questions. So with this, and y'all can't see this, probably too small, but I can see it clear over here. So here's the questions that I said. So first thing I wanted to ask the trainer: experience. I feel they need to have 3 years minimum in the business, actually doing closings, not 3 years teaching, but 3 years actually doing closings and notary work, to say that, they really got some experience. What is your business experience? That's another question. Who trained you? What is your direct versus signing company ratio? Because they're always talking about you need to have a direct client, and some of these folk have never done signing companies, so they just push the direct. But it's nothing wrong with having signing companies, especially depending on where you're at. What teaching instructional experience do you have? And then try to understand their personality type. Another question I have, a topic, is the subject matter. What are you teaching me, and why do you feel it's important? How does your teaching align with the NNA and state laws? I might have to take that out with the NNA. How does your training align with state laws? Relevance, how relevant is your stuff to my state? The backstory, what connections did you already have? Because here's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. Some of these individuals who come in this business and they take off, they already had connections with title companies and lenders and all of that.
Yeah.
So if they already had,
companies.
right. So if they've already had connections and they took somebody's training course, it seems like the training course got them popping. No, it really didn't. They already had the connections. The training course might have given them a little bit of confidence, but they probably could have popped, and made a bunch of money in this business without the trainers. Okay. What experience did you already have? Did you bootstrap, or you already had the funds to start? Because some people, what I learned is that some folk who are very successful in this business didn't have to bootstrap it like me. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's good to know, okay, I'm gonna use the ladies as an example because there's a lot of lady trainers. So let me come up with a name. Esmeralda. I'm gonna just come up with a name. Esmeralda, you're talking about, I need to take your training course, and you only take orders of this dollar amount, but your husband makes six figures, mid six figures. You got a retirement from the military, and you might even have some money coming in from your other baby daddy. So you don't really need the money like I need it, because you all set. See, once I realized that some people, and a person told me, they're like, I don't need any of the notary money to pay a bill that I have. It's just play money for me.
Yep.
So if that's where you're at, and you just operating off of play money because your husband or your spouse already got the bills covered, or y'all together got it covered with this other money you have over here. You got investments, you got this, you got real estate, all of that. Then you teaching me the business is coming from a different angle. So when you tell me I should not take orders below a certain dollar amount, well, that's easy for you to do. It's hard for me because the dollar amount that you're saying I should be accepting, I only see 8 to 12 of them a month. And out of that 8 to 12, I'm only getting 5 or 6. So I'm only getting about 50% of what you say I should have. But the rest of the money you're telling me to bypass, and all that money together is paying my bills. So that's why I'm saying, what's the backstory, the goals? How is what you're teaching me going to aid me as a notary? What are you trying to improve on for notaries? Are you walking away from conducting signings, which is what you brought up? So if this trainer is not doing signings, this is my personal opinion. If you become a trainer, in about 4 to 6 months, you're going to be out of touch with what goes on out here in these notary streets. Because if you become a trainer and you stop taking orders, things move so quick and fast, you're going to quickly be out of touch with what is really going on in the streets. And you're not going to be relatable anymore. You're not going to be nowhere near relatable to notaries. And that's why they talk at such a high level. And that's why they talk from the standpoint of, oh, you can make all this money and you can have this lifestyle. Okay, but you're not helping me to navigate last minute orders. You're not helping me to navigate signing companies that be tripping. Or maybe they're not tripping and they want to give me more work. And it's a great opportunity to where I could probably pull in about $2,000 a month. But the fee that they want to pay me is $95 a pop. But I got you in my head telling me that doesn't equate to my proper worth. But I can get $2,000 solid for them, and they said they like me and they want me, but I'm conflicted to take that. You see what I'm saying? So you done walked away from it, and when it was giving you 125, but now the fee is 95, but somebody wants to give me that enough to where I can pull in about $2,000 a month. Shoot. So what? $2,000 divided by 95, that's 21 signings. That's 21 signings. And if your goal is $5,000, now all you got to do is just get the other money. But you got 21 signings that you can do a month with this company, and they're gonna pay you $9,000, whether it's a direct client or a signing company. You got 21 things, $95, $2,000. What's wrong with that? So then lastly, support. What type of support can you provide? How accessible are you? And does the trainer family support them? And I think that's important, because if the trainer's family, like the wife or the husband, their spouse is like, why are you getting these phone calls? Who you call? Then you're not going to get no support. You're not. And I've heard of trainers telling people, I can't talk to y'all no more because my wife wants me. Okay, you don't put yourself out there. You got my money. And now when I call you, you telling me don't call you no more. You telling me you too busy and just go look at some of my videos again. Okay, what am I paying for? I need help now. And this is why so many notaries, in my opinion, are struggling. Because these TMCs, when it comes down to it, they're not there to be on the ground with you to help you out. They just want your money. They just want to give you a few fluff things and tell you go figure it out. And if you do need help, it's going to cost you. So everything will have to cost us. But if we're a family, sometimes we just need to help each other. Families sometimes just help each other. I know Uncle Earl is always getting drunk and always doing this, but he needs help. So family, let's put aside our feelings about Uncle Earl and let's help him. Let's help him with this situation right here. Maybe us helping him can help get him on the straight and narrow path, but we got to put aside our issues and concerns and stop worrying about who made the potato salad and help the family out. And that's what I think is missing with the business. But unfortunately, people just keep buying into it because they're just hoping one day that that trainer is going to turn around, and they're not. Heck, the trainers who talk about you need to get paid all this money, I don't see them doing anything to have a conversation with the title companies or the signing companies to increase our pay.
Right.
They keep telling us to hold out. They keep telling us to do all these little mini strikes and stuff, but I haven't seen a single trainer or mentor or coach, TMC, go and say, okay, let's have a conversation with so-and-so signing company or so-and-so title company to get notaries paid more.
And let's also travel back on that paid more, because it also depends on where you live. You know, the business that's available to you. In California, I mean, just a general notarization is $15. In New York, it's only $2. That alone is going to be a different price point that I can actually make, just going forward. So for me to listen
Correct.
to Mark Wills, he's in California. Those numbers are always going to be higher than what I can actually do here, because just by default, their general notarization fee is way more higher than mine. You know, so those are the little pieces that we have to pay attention to. And, you know, especially speaking with these trainers, because you want to tell me how much I can make in my state. Are you sure? You know, what is your proof of concept?
Correct. You know what? There's that term right there, and I put it up here: TMCs, trainer, mentor, coaches. That is the key thing right there. What you just said. What is the proof of concept? Because in business, when you're presenting something to somebody, you have to prove that it works. You have to prove that it works across the board. One of the things now that is a guy in our notary business, I can't remember his name. I think Matt from the Independent League of the California Notaries. He knows the guy. It's a guy that talks about the history of when mobile notary stuff started. And one of the things he said is that Congress or Congress gave permission to banks to start doing business across state lines. So Idaho bank could do business in New Mexico and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Here's the thing. Each one of those banks, if Idaho wanted to do business in all 50 states, they had to make sure they understood the compliance and regulatory restrictions in all 50 states in order to do business in there without violating anything within that state. The TMCs, they don't care about that. They're like, hey, I'm just training. But you're training people in something that could be violating their state law. So if a notary is supposed to be a person of integrity and operating within the guidelines and confines of what they swore an oath to, then why would you teach something that could help them or encourage them or move them in a situation to where they violate it? So that tells me you don't have my best interest at heart. That's what that's why I come across the way I do, because when I'm sitting here, I'm like, do you understand that what you're saying is going across state lines? And the moment you go across state lines, you got to abide by those laws. So what you teach, that's why, if y'all remember back in the day, they would have the what was it? The infomercials on, and at and at the bottom it would say such and such is not available in California, Minnesota, or Texas.
Yep.
So even though they was advertising in California, they would say, hey, I know you see this, but you can't buy it. It won't be shipped to California. So they had disclaimers that said this information is good or this product is great, but you can't buy it in California. We don't ship there. We're not allowed to. because it breaks some kind of regulatory thing. It has the wrong metal in it, doesn't have the right insulator around the electrical or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Or the disposal of it is bad and we can't, and it's going to mess up our waterways. Whatever their reason behind it. So just because you see it, because it's on the late night show, Johnny Carson, the Tonight Show, that is, and it's a nationwide show, and it's average, and the marketing is nationwide, but you can't buy it because it's not allowed to be in your state.
Amazon Amazon is like that. There's a product that I would love to buy. It's on Amazon. However, you can't purchase it in the state of New York. So they have that disclaimer on. I can see it. It looks love. I can see every last one of them they have. But because New York State does not allow that to be here, I'm not allowed to buy it. So when they're training us, they should be aware of what we are allowed to and not to do. There's no need. I try to stay focused on the tri-state because I'm invested in those 3 laws, rather than speaking to someone from Michigan. Because once I go to Michigan, I have to speak from the middle of the room. I don't know their laws. And I don't mind to honestly say I don't know their laws, but I am willing to get into your book with you and help you to find out whatever information is that you might need to find out, because it's important to get it right.
Correct. What you got, Laura? Good to see you there. Ubiquitous Mobile Notary Services, LLC. I got to say it with a very white voice. Ubiquitous.
Hey, Griff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, young lady, and stuff. So I honestly believe everybody can be successful in this business. And I know, and the reason why I say that is because what I've seen in life with these 57 years I got under my belt is that when people get the right information and properly apply it, the chances of them succeeding increases. It may not be the same way it increased for somebody else. It may not be on the same level, but they will have more success when they understand properly how to do things and focus on the right thing to do. And again, I refer back to the way we deal with our children or nieces and nephews. When the child is properly educated or properly raised or properly guided to what's important in life, the chances of them being successful increases exponentially. That's the same thing for us. So if we're not properly guided into the correct realm of being a notary, not talking about the business owner side, just being a notary, then as we implement business owner things, how can you be successful if the job that you're supposed to do, you're failing at it, which is proper notarizations? So yes, you know how to market. Yes, you know Google. Yes, you got pretty flyers. Yes, you're all over social media. But when it comes time for you to do the job, you don't know how to do it. That's the failure point. And we have to be able to do the job first. And then all the marketing and all the, hey, I'm here and I'm this, that, and the other, that will come. And people will be happy because you know what? You didn't screw this order up. What else you got, Laura? While I eat on my fritter. I do have a fritter tonight, y'all.
Well, Griff, the number one rule is to learn how to do the job right. And then add on, then you add the speed. Don't try to start out with speed. Because speed, if you start out with speed, you're not going to be focused on accuracy. You want to start off where you're focused on accuracy, and that might be taking your time. You might have to go through that signing package a few times to make sure you absolutely didn't miss anything. I've had days where I've, from start to finish, I look to make sure that all my jurats is filled out right. I go back to make sure all the signatures are in place. I go back to make sure any corrections that I needed to make to my jurat is done. I go back to make sure my stamp is on everything. Sometimes you just got to slow yourself down to make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to get that express route.
The audience is telling me to tell y'all to turn your camera. I see Laura is now. Leilan, you don't have to. It's up to you if you want to. Cool. I know this was impromptu, so you may not have yourself to the point where you want to be seen. So I understand that and everything, you know. So who's this here? Izzy Services just
Yes,
let you.
that's Misael. That's Misael. That's
Oh, that's
Misael being a bugaboo.
oh, okay. So why he ain't up here?
Okay, that's
Oh,
what I
here you
was
go,
about to
Griff.
say,
Here
Griff.
you
Why
go,
he
Griff.
not up
That's
here?
the
He
question.
telling everybody turn their camera on.
He got the link. But so what's going on, Laura? Talk to me.
Nothing. I was just appreciating and listening to everything. I know that Steven had asked what does TMC mean, and I put that you mean trainer, mentor, coach, and like that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I came up with that acronym because one day I was just scrolling through the internet, and every time I turned around, it's another person saying, "I'm a trainer, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach," and I'm like, so that's where we're at, huh? Get a notary stamp, spend 10 seconds trying to do notary work, and I'm gonna just be straight up. And some people ain't gonna like this, but some of these TMCs are failed notaries. And what I mean by that is they may know how to do the notary work, but they failed at actively doing it because some of them don't like going into the homes, they don't like the printing, they don't like the scanning, they don't like the driving. So how can you train somebody who's primarily going to be doing that 90% of the time when you don't even like it yourself? You don't like doing that, but you're training somebody in something you don't like or you failed at. That's the problem that I have. And again, going back to our children as an example, we don't want our kids to be around somebody who's not successful at something or who doesn't care for education. So if you know your child will be great as a concert pianist, you're not going to have your son or daughter around somebody who just cares about sports. You're going to have them around people. So somebody who doesn't like the notary business and they're not actively doing anything to make the notary business better, except just complain about it. How can you act? How can you honestly be taking training from them when they're constantly berating what you may be successful at? You might be successful at doing apostille and they don't like it, or general notary and they don't like it, or loan closings and they don't like it. So I think sometimes they berate the thing that you're successful at that they failed at in order for you to take their training over here in the realm in which they like. So I'm good at estate planning. I love it. I've got a connection there. I don't like loan closings. So if you're doing loan closing, oh God, I don't know what's wrong with you. I wouldn't do all that. And and that's the problem that I have is that people make folk feel bad about stuff that they're okay with. That's not right. And I'm gonna just put it out there. And our people who look like this, black folk, do that a heck of a lot. They do that a heck of a lot. Let me see here.
Yeah, I don't try to steer anybody from what they want to do. That's not my disposition as a mentor. My disposition is to make sure that they do that they're learning what they want to learn and that they're succeeding at what it is that they're asking me for assistance with.
Mm-hmm. It's, hold on. So when I did, oh man, these people close out report. Now I told them that the documents weren't going out till tomorrow, and they're sending me a note at 10:34 saying the FedEx package isn't tracking. Please make sure it goes out tomorrow. And I'm sitting here saying right back to them, I mentioned that the docs will go out tomorrow when I submitted when I did the closeout report. So that shows y'all that we got all these tools to communicate back and forth to them and they don't read stuff. So
now, Griff, you know, I always gotta play devil's advocate. To my understanding, sometimes those things are computer generated also.
no, this one's not. It has the lady's name in it with a smiley face. Has a name in there with a smiley face. And I talked to her and I told her, she done asked me 5 times before the closing. It was a last minute closing tonight. I took it. I was going to chill and relax. Asked me 4 or 5 times, hey, if it can't go out tonight, it'll go. I said, yes, it will go out tomorrow. Yes, don't worry about it. If it doesn't go out tonight, it will go out tomorrow. In the closeout report, I made sure I put in there, doc, because I finished the guy at 7:15. It's a 30-minute drive to where I need to go. I said, nope. I said, it's going out tomorrow. Put it in there both, and they're gonna ask me that. So this is where I get petty. I'm like, I already mentioned that in the closeout report. So I'm basically asking them, go read the closeout report. Because here's the thing, y'all. Sometimes these companies will say stuff in such a way as if to make it look like you're not being, like you're doing something wrong. Like you didn't inform us of ... And I'm like, yes, I did. I told y'all. Now, if you failed to look at it, and the reason why I did this, the reason why I said it that way, because that person is more than likely just a W-2 worker. They might be the owner, but if they're not the owner and their manager looks at it or whoever, they can then be like, oh, Griff did. So if he did it here, why are you asking him and saying that it's not tracking as if you didn't know that he did this? So I'm trying to cover myself because I don't know how long that person may work there. And if they go back and look at old order, like,
Right.
and I don't want them to get the impression like, oh yeah, Griff, he don't, you know, he was told 5 times to make sure that it goes tomorrow, but he didn't tell us. No, he did tell y'all. He told y'all in the closeout report.
Right.
You know, so this goes back to what Leilan said a while back. You have to fight for your business. And that's all this was, is me fighting like, no, I did this. I made sure that you were aware of ... So if you fail to read the stuff and all of that, that's on you.
Right.
Yeah. And I got it I got it right here. It says comments drop off on March 15th, that I'm dropping the documents off on March 15th. So yeah, I'm looking at it right here. So you have to fight for yourself, like Leilan said.
As per my previous response.
Yeah. I like that. I should have put that in there. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got to add the time at 7:45 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Where you at, Miss Sayel? I know you out there lurking. Mm-hmm. Sitting out there lurking around.
That's right. Griff, call him out. Call him out, Griff.
He says that he's helping his uncle move with the U-Haul.
All right, tell him to get his uncle on. His uncle probably got some words of wisdom for us. So now, Laura, how long you been in the business?
Well, I'm about to be renewing my commission in September, so it's going over 4 years.
Okay.
Yep.
And now you've been pretty successful with this business, it seems like. I mean, I don't know all the detail, but to me, I just feel that you've been
right
knocking it out the ballpark and doing your thing with it.
Man, I'm trying to be like all y'all. I'm trying to be like Griff. You know how they say be like Mike. I'm trying to be like Griff. I'm trying to get on your level.
Look, there's some days I be struggling, but I enjoy every single moment of it. And any day that I get down and a little sad about whatever, not enough orders, it's taking a little while for money to come in, I think about what I personally would have to deal with if I was in somebody's office. I'm like, nope. I said, you know what? I'll be all right. I said, I'm gonna matter of fact, I just got a check from an order that I did in November of 2024. They did the closing on November 22nd. And on the thing, it says settlement. They said the settlement date was November 25th, 3 days after I did the closing. and the disbursement was March the 5th. And I got the check on March the 8th.
Gotcha.
As soon as I looked at the,
Wow.
as soon as I saw the open, I'm like, oh, I forgot about this. I thought I had got paid for it.
Yeah, that's how you know when we're busy, when we forget about this. Yeah, that part.
And that was for 200 because it was last minute
Right.
in the middle of it seemed like in the middle of the night. And here's what was weird about it. We do the closing on the 22nd. They wanted the documents dated for the 25th and notarized for the 25th. But I'm like, but we're doing it on the 22nd. And the problem is, and I should have talked about this back then, but I forgot. I was so busy back then. The title company had never done or worked with a mobile notary. And the people who they was having me close with just happened to be in Virginia from South Carolina. So they was like, we've never done this before, so we just want all the dates to line up for the closing, which is going to be on the 25th. And I was like, y'all don't know notary law. So we finally got on the phone with somebody who did understand notary law, and it was like, nope, you do what you need to do for the date that you're there. I said, okay. But that was a eye opener to me that there are some companies out here who have never done anything with mobile notaries. So if they haven't done anything with mobile notaries, they may ask you to do something that makes them feel comfortable and good, but it's completely illegal. And they don't understand that.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. So, and see, that's a whole nother thing there, because with organizations like the NNA and all these TMCs, nobody really supports us fully in battling against a company that's asking us to do something illegal. And people will say, well, no, the NNA. No,
Right.
if you're in a situation with the NNA and you're on because like I got two phones. So here I'm on one phone with the NNA, the other phone with the title company or the signing company that's telling me to backdate. I'm asking the NNA, hey, can y'all tell this title company that it's illegal for me to backdate? Oh no, we can't do that because they're not paying for our service to talk to them. You're paying for it. I said, but they don't believe me. They need to hear it from you. And they won't tell them. They're like, no, we're not talking to them.
Wow.
That's what the NNA did to me several times. And I'm like, but I need y'all to educate them. Well, no, all you need to do is just tell them. And then their answer back is,
Right.
well, if they're being difficult, just stop working with them. I'm like, but if they're only one of 5 companies that is working in an area I said, why not get it to where we're doing things right? I said, because here's the thing. They want an NNA certified notary. That's a part of their thing, their contract. So if they want an NNA certified notary, then to me, it's incumbent on y'all to make sure they understand that an NNA certified notary is allowed to do ... and not allowed to do ... because they're dependent upon your certification. And I'm supposed to be following what you say in your handbook, as well as my state law. And your state law and my handbook says I can't do what they're asking me to do. And they make a requirement that I have to have your certification. I don't see no reason why you can't talk to them. And you're marketing to them that, hey, we got NNA certified notaries. Use these notaries because they know what they're doing. But then they don't trust me when I tell them I can't do such and such. You won't back me and audibly tell them, hey, Mr. Signing company, title company, that notary is doing what's right. That's where the real support needs to come in at, but that's not happening. But we can call the NNA all day long and they can tell us stuff, but they will not talk to the powers that be of the folk who paying us to tell them, hey, y'all incorrect in doing this. You should not be trying to make them to do that because that's illegal. And that part right there needs to change. So
right. Yeah, because it's like they don't have our back.
They want our money, and they want us to come to an $800 conference, but you can't get them. But no, I mean that's my thing. So I think they do offer value, but that is the big support thing that I think they need to have. And if they can get to that part, I think that'll be a huge relief off of a lot of notaries, because you're sitting here like, this company's paying me 125, but they want me to backdate it, and they're telling me I'm their preferred notary. But if I don't do this, they're going to blacklist me. The NNA ain't backing me. I know what they're asking me to do is wrong. Man, I can't be losing that 125. And if they blacklist me, other companies might not want to rock with me. Okay, I hope nobody finds out.
Find out, they're gonna tell.
Right. Somebody gonna,
because they're gonna say, well, this other notary did it. Why can't you?
Bingo. And that's why, like I mentioned, I did a video earlier today where the documents that I shipped, they got lost. If I'm not allowed to take closing checks in Virginia if I don't have a title license. If I had took a closing check, if they had one to give and put it in there, that meant their documents and the daggone check is gone. My butt will be up the creek without a paddle, because I know better. Even if I didn't know better, I'm still gonna be in trouble because I did it and I should have known better and stuff. And I deal with companies all the time that like, yeah, you just need to grab that check. I'm like, I'm not grabbing it. All right, well, we won't use you no more. Okay. I'm like, oh well, just don't use me no more. I said, but I got to do things right. And this title companies that ask me to do this a lot of times, and I'm like, y'all know that I ain't supposed to do that. Well, yeah, but I mean, you heard what Laura said. The other notaries do it. I'm like, nah, It's what's going on, Prentice?
You put the label on there. When you put the label on there, it's out of your hands. So if it got lost, it wasn't on you.
Yeah, but see, the state law in Virginia says if you don't have a title license, you're not allowed to even you're not allowed to collect it or even handle it. So I can't transport it. I'm not allowed to have it in my possession whatsoever. So I can't even say like, oh, you drop it in there. So some people think, oh, the notary can't physically like touch it. No, I can't. I can't have it. So I can't have my envelope and then you go sliding it in there. We can't even do that stuff.
Wow.
He said, I agree, Griff. I'm looking to forego my NNA membership heading into my 8th year. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, I think I've gotten all the value that I needed out of that membership. I had it for 4 years, and I'm like, I'm like, I'm good.
But are you gonna get the background check? Because they also, when you go to these signing services, if you don't have like the background check and stuff, they don't want to use you.
Well, I still do that part, but for as the hotline membership, I'm not going to renew that. That's the part I'm not going to renew. I'm not going to renew the hotline membership. I've used it. They've given me some good information. My thing was when I needed them to relay that information as an authority figure to the powers that be, on the other side, they wouldn't do it. And I've lost clients because of that, because I know I ain't supposed to do something and I have nobody to back me. And because they think that, oh, you're just being a difficult notary, you're just being hard, you don't want to do your job. You see, and I've had them even turn around and they're like, okay, we're just going to do the closing, and then turn around and have somebody else do the closing. Because I get a phone, because I've had a phone call from the signers and say, hey, Griff, what did you not deliver my documents? I said, yeah. Well, they told me that they're going to have another notary come out and redo the signing. I said, yeah, because they didn't like it and didn't do ... And I will sit there and tell the signer, I say that I said, you heard they don't want, I'm not allowed to do this, that, or the other. Yeah, I said, so now you have a choice to make. If they send somebody else out here and they want to do this thing that you know that I ain't supposed to do, that's going to be on between you and them to do that. I said, but I'm not doing it because I have to do things correctly because I'm an official of the state, not any of those companies. I represent the state, and the state is entrusting me to do things in accordance with their state law that I swore an oath to. And the signers understand that. It's the companies sometimes they don't understand that. So I'm like, well, and I just do that. I mean, convinced that same thing happened to me. So it's happening out there all around. And it's sad that we have to be in that situation where we're supposed to be individuals of integrity in an office of integrity, but then when we try to operate that way, we get blacklisted for doing so. And that part right there isn't right. And to me, that's where a notary organization is supposed to step in and protect its members and say, whoa, wait a minute. Why are you blacklisting them? And in my opinion, and tell me what y'all think about this, Leland and Laura. If any notary platform or the companies that use a notary platform have a requirement that notaries follow the NNA code of conduct and be NNA certified, I think the NNA should have the right to go and look at whether or not those companies are blacklisting NNA notaries and the reason why, to ensure that we're not getting blacklisted for doing what's right and because these companies got into their feelings. They got in their feelings and said, I'm gonna blacklist you because you won't do such and such. But what you're blacklisting me for is I'm operating properly. What's your thoughts on that, if you have any?
You're blacklisting me.
No, I think that's 100% true.
Mm-hmm. What you got, Leland?
I said they're blacklisting you because you refuse to be unethical, and that's a problem. We're licensed or we're commissioned to be a third-party contractor. We're NNA trained to say that we are for sure about the process that's needed. I'm sorry, I got romper room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a problem when they're putting you on that list for the wrong reasons. Again, there is immense jail time, real jail time, felony time, associated with your notary license. And some of these people who ask us to do this, they work at the title company, but they've never done a notarization in their life. They don't know what it takes or how it's supposed to be done. They just know they need it done and they want you to do it. I get a lot of blast because I refuse to stamp my stamp and just sign. That's not how it's done. It has to have language. It has to have verbiage. And as I told you, it hurts, but I have to walk away.
And my thought is, if our role is to prevent fraud or to assist our state in preventing fraud with regards to anything that needs to be properly notarized for signatures on a document, and a company blacklists me or decides, even if they don't blacklist me, they say, well, we just won't use you. So what you're saying is that I'm not allowed to do my job in my state, which is to assist my state in preventing fraud. So if the reason why you don't want to use me isn't legit, it's more of a personal preference. It's, well, my title company says you have to do this. My title company says you have to stamp that notary certification of the ID, even though there's no sign or signature on there. You still need to put no, I can't put my stamp on it because that's like me notarizing my own signature. And there's not a notary, that is not even a notary certificate. It's just a statement saying that I viewed the IDs. Well, you have to put it on there because they said so. But that goes against my state law. Well, I don't know about that.
But But let's go back though. Remember, they're able to comment. We don't know what's being said.
Correct. And that right there, which is just like what Leilan said, is wrong, because that prohibits us from doing our job as a notary for our state. So the moment you blacklist me, if I did something so egregious that you blacklist me, I personally feel you need to report me to my state. So now my state needs to look into why did Griff get blacklisted?
Agreed.
You got blacklisted for what? And if it's valid, then my commission needs to be immediately revoked. So
Correct.
if you're blacklisting me and it's a bunch of BS, then now we need to have a conversation with you, Mr. Miss Signing Company. If you're blacklisting me, signing company, because your title company say don't ever use that notary again, then we need to have a conversation and figure out why. What did he actually or she do that warrants them to be restricted from executing their duties as a notary in that state? That's what's happening. They're saying you are no longer allowed to execute your duties in this state with us because we wanted you to collect the check, even though you're not legally allowed to. You should have. We want you to explain the documents or go do an overview of the documents, even though your state says you're not legally allowed to. It's our policy that you do it. But I'm an independent contractor. I'm not your employee. And that's the other side of the house that people forget. We're not employees. We're independent contractors. So you want your contractors to operate within the guidelines of the rules and regulations that they're supposed to do so, not your company policy. That's and I've been going over this in my head for many, many years, talking to other people, and it still keeps coming back around, is that sometimes people, they just don't understand business. They see all this money coming in, they can make 50, 60, $100,000 a month doing a signing company, doing title work, and they need us to do it, and they want to control us, grab us by the back of the neck, and make us do what they want so they can get paid. And if it's something goes down, then we get left out there to dry. Yeah.
True. But but to play devil's advocate, Griff, I was saying this in the room earlier when I was in Dashika's room this morning. You know, we also have choices we can make. We know that signing services is like a glorified temp agency. So push come to shove, you know, we can go direct and work with, you know, the title companies and everything. Whereas you don't have to have that NNA background check of that too. So
that is true. And I have direct clients. The problem is I don't get enough work from them to pay my bills.
Right.
And a lot in several clients, several title companies that I've marketed to, I've gone into, they told me straight up, we don't work with notaries coming off the street. We just deal with the signing company.
Wow.
So that's all so
I have heard that too.
So you're right. But here's the thing.
Right.
If let's just say there's 25 title companies in an area, in my area, if there's 25 title companies, but there's probably, we'll just give it a low number. Let's just say there's 300 notaries in my city. 300, no, I know there's more, but let's just say there's 300 notaries actively doing real estate closing. Those 300 notaries amongst those 25 signing companies, title companies, there is not enough business coming from those companies that can feed all of us, especially if our financial goal is, say, $5,000 a month. There's not enough business coming from those local title companies to feed us. Yes, and see, now it works if you got other money that covers your bills and you don't want to deal with the signing companies and you want something a little more stable. So yes, you can go to the title company directly and work with them because you got this other money. But if you don't have other money, like I don't have the other money, working directly for the title company as my main source, when I'm getting let's just say 10 appointments a month, and even at 15, at 150, you're talking about $1,500. And if I need 8-9 grand to take it, so that's where I got to deal with the signing company. Now, in some cases, there's some signing companies I don't mess with anymore, even though they pay pretty good. But the pain and the mess that they put you through just to do a signing, constantly on your back, fussing at you. And I'm talking about you ain't done nothing wrong, but as soon as you hit the thing, when you gonna put the documents up, don't drop the documents until we scan them, look at them, massage them, have our cousin look. It's like, look, I got other documents, I got other closings I got to do. Well, you can't. No, we need you to be close to your computer in case.
Well, the catch-22, Griff, is, and as you all know, they don't care about the other signings you have. They only care
Correct.
about yours. Excuse me, about theirs, and that becomes an encumbersome when you're trying to wait for that approval so you can go drop off at FedEx, or waiting for that shipping label because you're going to be out in the street for the rest of the day, and they're expecting this stuff to get in the mail. I just feel like we are on their clock and their clock exclusively, and they have to be reminded that I'm working with you. I don't work for you.
Right. That is a big thing. You're 100% correct. So at that point, then if you want me to exclusively work for you, taking into account what the TMCs say, $300 a day. Okay, so then we need to have every signing company pay out $300. You pay me $300. I'm limited to only doing one signing a day. Then that means I'll do your signing first come, first serve. I do your signing. I made my 300. I'll see you tomorrow. But the problem is there might be another signing company that really needs you to do an order for them because they know you're reliable. Hey, I get that, Earl signing company, but you came late. Catch me tomorrow. Because the thing is, you and your cohorts, y'all want us to just be dedicated you for that whole day, for this one signing. So the only way to make that happen is you got to pay us a whole lot more. But it doesn't make sense to pay us $300. I get that. So then that means you have to have some compassion, some leeway, and stop operating in fear and realize when you got a good notary. So like today I had 2 orders that was in an area called Hampton and one in Newport News. The traffic coming back there was an hour's drive. My second signing was just do it and drop it off. My first one, I had to scan back. Even though I had my scanner with me, I needed to get back on the other side of the water because traffic was building up Friday and all of that. And we have these underground, these underwater tunnels and stuff. So I was like, I need to get back on the other side. I told the signing company, I said, hey, I'm on my way back. It's going to take me about an hour, this, that, and the other. They was chill. They was like, no problem. Got home, did the scan, uploaded, and then somewhere along the line, they said, hey, docs look good. Well, they also forgot to send me the shipping label. I said, hey, I don't have the shipping label. I double-checked the documents. It's not in there. They said, no problem. We'll get it to you. They got it to me. And then here's the thing. They said straight up, they said, we know this is not going to go out tonight. Just make sure it goes out tomorrow. Gotcha. The other company that hit me up, that done told me 5 times that if it don't go out today, it needs to go out tomorrow, that I told them I understand that, and that it will go out tomorrow. What are they doing? Emailing me at 10:30 at night saying, hey, make sure we don't see that it's tracking, so you need to make sure it goes out tomorrow. And I'm like, come on. See, at that point, you're operating in fear. You know I'm good for it. I've shared with you, I've told you that the FedEx last drop-off is 3:30 on Saturdays. So I've given you all the information, and I can even give you the address of where I got to go drop it off at. But because of fear, you still like, no, I can't trust that Griff gonna do it. I know you done, and you haven't given me any reason not to trust you, but I don't trust you. That makes for a bad working relationship.
But Griff, on the weekend, it's still not gonna move anyway.
I must say, Griff, some of it is just to educate them on what you know about FedEx and UPS in your area. Because for the most part, FedEx and UPS, if you drop off on Saturday at the right time, it will still get there on Monday like there's no problem.
Right. And that's what I keep telling them.
Friday, it sits in FedEx or UPS until Saturday when they get the whole batch to go out to be there by Monday.
Right.
I love a Thursday late night, Friday signing because I don't have to rush and get to FedEx. It gives me some leeway. And it's just for me to assure them that no worries, you will get your package come Monday.
Correct. And see, that tells me also that the signing companies consistently aren't doing any research in areas that they actively got work to figure that out.
I gotta beg to differ. Because I had a signing where they were telling me, they said, oh, we see that the nearest drop off cuts off at this time. I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah,
because it was something else that.
But you know what? In my area, every time they do that, excuse me, they pick the wrong one. They pick the FedEx because see, there's a FedEx that's next to the airport that we have that their last pickup is 7:30.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we didn't know about that when I said, because they're telling me, well, you got to get there by 5 o'clock. I said, no, I don't. Yes, you do. I said, there's one that the last drop off is 7:30. Oh, it is? I say, yes. I say, type in 2600 Ellesmere Road in Norfolk, Virginia. I just overlooked that one. I said, yeah.
Yeah, see, and for me, that is a part of telling them how to do their work because now that next notary that they may use in your area, they can direct now to that FedEx. And that becomes a whole different, because I have one that's open to 8. My last drop off is at 8:30. I let them know, don't worry, I know where location is that I can drop off by 8:30. So I guarantee that your package will get out. Other than that, I don't like to inform them. I need them to know that I got that connection and I know where I can go to drop your package off.
Right.
It gets to be my leg up with them.
Now, part of that is because there's so many notaries out here who haven't been trained properly in getting their thought process to where yours is, Leilan and Laura, that they don't think like that. They just think I'm gonna get the money, and then they're like, well, I'm gonna just drop it at Eckerd's. I'm gonna just drop it over here in this box sitting in the corner behind my cousin's house. And they're not thinking that. So this is why I get on to TMC so much, because I'm like, if you're going to teach somebody the notary business, you got to teach them the critical aspects of it, which is figuring out which FedEx is that. Just because the FedEx place on the thing says they closed at 8, don't mean that the last pickup is at 8. The last pickup might be 5 o'clock. Just like I found out about 5 months ago. Now it's a little bit of a drive, but I found 2 FedExes two UPSs that I can drop off to by 6 o'clock. All the other UPSs, they pick up at 4:30. So if I really had to and I had the time, there's 2 that I could go to. It's a little bit of a drive to one of them, but I can go there, and if I get there by 6 o'clock, it'll get out the same day. Then I found a title office around the corner from me that FedEx and UPS picks up every day without fail, Monday through Friday. The problem is when UPS picks up, they never change that little sign that says the pickup has already occurred. FedEx does, but UPS doesn't. So I went there one time thinking that they hadn't picked up. I put the stuff in there. And I'm like, what the heck? Why is it not tracking? I went the next day and sat out there until they came. And then I was sitting there looking, and I found it. I said, what time y'all pick this stuff up? Oh, well, normally I try to pick up by 5:30. And but sometimes I'm running late, sometimes I'm running a little bit early. So I'm like, okay, now I know basically if I get it in there by 5 o'clock, I'm good. But after 5 o'clock, I'm not gonna worry about it. If I can, I'll go to one of the other ones that's at 6. Those are the kind of things that people need to do. But if you're not used to putting in that little effort in your non-notary life with other parts that you ain't gonna do it. Now you might be willing to do that if you think your little special someone is cheating on you. You go crawling in bushes and all of that kind of stuff and hanging in
Oh
their
my
tire
God.
and their trunk.
So Griff, I want to give you a piece of my my recon.
Yeah.
So I have a FedEx machine that is always says that it's been picked up. 2 o'clock in the morning, it says it's, in the afternoon, it says it's picked up. So it always says that. I literally pick up the little rocks that's on the ground and I drop it in the FedEx inside the bin to see if it hits the bottom or if it hits a package. If it hits packages, then they ain't picked up yet. It hits the bottom, you might be SOL, and you got to drive all the way out to the location and drop off. So that's what I do to kind of check. Did they come yet? Because some of the machines are broken. They're down, for whatever reason. Those little switches don't click over. They're supposed to be there. I think with FedEx, just by default at 6 o'clock, it turns over. Whether they're there or not, it turns over at 6 o'clock. So did they pick up or did they not pick up? For me, a pebble inside the bin tells me whether there's packages in there or not.
I like that. And
I
see,
also
one time
learned
I
that
was
the drop box in front of the facility FedEx that they also pick up on Saturdays. So I would say to verify that with them. But I know the ones in my area actually say if you drop it in the FedEx bin on a Saturday for Open Ship Center, that they will actually pick that up and it will still go out. So that might be a save.
Now, just some people may already know this, but when you go to the FedEx and they want you to drop it in that little box, not give it to the counter, but that little box off to the side where you can scan and get a receipt. What you need to know, and I've double checked this and triple checked it, when you scan and drop it in that little convenience box, when you scan it, that does not go into the FedEx system. So you scan it, they give you a little self-printed receipt. So that self-serve box, it sits in there until the actual FedEx pickup guy comes. When they scan it at that point, then it goes in the system. So if you have a client that's looking for it and you say, yeah, I'm getting ready to go take it to FedEx, and you put it in that box, they're going to be like, hey, we don't see it tracking. And you cannot trust FedEx, because one time I told them, I said, look, I just need y'all to scan it here at the counter. Oh, no, you ain't got to worry about it. Just put it, look, we're going to do it for you. So they said, just sit it on the counter. We'll scan it here. I said, okay. Because I was running. Now, I had already scanned with the FedEx app all the labels so I could know. This was at 3:20. They didn't scan it into their system until like almost 6 o'clock. So I called and I told their manager what was going down. Now, I got to where it needed to go. I said, but your people lied to me. I said, I don't like that. I said, I told them I have clients that don't want it sitting in your little self-help box. They want it scanned into the FedEx system. And she said, no, you're right. It doesn't go into our system until we rescan it when we pull it out. I said, well, what's wrong with me getting y'all to scan it at the counter when I don't want to? I said, why are you making me do something I don't want to do? She said, I will talk to them and get them trained. And I'm going to just be straight with y'all. The people who did that and treated me that way were all Black.
So that's like my FedEx.
And they had this attitude like, you're going to do, and I mean, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's go outside and have a conversation, because I'm about to whip all y'all. I said, just do your job. I said, I'm just asking y'all. And I articulated to them, and they didn't deny. They didn't say, they said, no, you're right. If it scans over there, it doesn't go in our system. I said, well, if I'm telling you that I have people who need it in the system, why you just do it? And I was like, I said, so I never go to that FedEx. I don't go to that FedEx under no circumstance. I don't care. You can pay me. I say, you know what? Never mind. I go take a W-2 before I go back in there. I ain't going in that daggone FedEx. And I told the lady on the phone, I said, ma'am, I said, look, thank you for calling me back. Because I called FedEx himself and complained. I said, matter of fact, that same FedEx, the lady question me about what was in the package.
None of your business.
Right, but she didn't question nobody else. I mean, I have a
Right.
doctor, and I made a complaint about that. So I'm like, okay, 2 complaints. I said, you know what, forget y'all. And I told the lady, I said, I'm never coming in there again under no circumstance. And she said, I said, no, I'm for real. I will never come in there ever again. I said, if I got to drop it off to y'all, I would just have to lose my pay for not getting it shipped out on time, or I will go pay the shipping through UPS or somewhat. I said, but I will never ever come in that building again. And I'm saying, I said, because your people are mean and y'all be doing folk wrong and you're racially profiled me and all that. I said, never again and stuff. So sometimes you got to take our stance like that. And hopefully y'all don't go through that. But I'm sharing that with y'all so you can understand that it's stuff that happens out here like this. And you got to be able to address it, deal with it, and then find a way to make sure that you roll your business and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like Penn said, yeah, that daggone self-help box messing with me, got me in trouble one too many times, and all of that. And the first time I went there, I asked the guy, does this go into the FedEx system? Oh yeah, it does. Okay. Lying to me, I'm like, mm-mm. I said, I'm gonna have to go like Leilan, New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey on them.
I don't do that either, Griff. And I go and I hand it to them and I stand there and wait. The guy was like, oh, you can leave. I was like, and I'll be on my phone and I'll keep standing there and stuff. Listen, you gonna do that to me, I'm gonna do it to you. And so then the other guy knows that I do that, and he'll go around them, he'll take it and scan it, and he'll put it behind the thing and stuff. And I was like, thank you, and I'll walk away. But it's one young man, he always do that. And I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna argue with you, because you can see in his face he got an attitude. It's all good, you know everything. And don't worry about it. But the thing is, that's the nearest one to me in my area. I would have to go to Staten Island and pay almost $20 toll in order to be able to get it to the one in Staten Island. So that's the nearest one to me. Now, the other thing is the direct ship ones are closing. I think May in Staten Island, like the FedEx direct ship, and I think a UPS, a couple, the direct ones are closing.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
A couple of them. And over there in Staten Island. So now I got to find another one. But I feel you.
Yeah, so all right, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna shut it down and go ahead on and print my documents for tomorrow. But I appreciate you two wonderful ladies coming on and kicking it with me and all of that and hanging out with the party people. You know, I know Mr. L, he got scared. He didn't want to come up here. he didn't want to come up here and Oswald playing on TikTok.
Right. Well, it's all good. I want to thank you very much for inviting us, and it's been a pleasure. We always got your back.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And all that. And Leilan, give your little doggy a hug for me. I love that dog. Yes, though. Well, party people, y'all have a good one. We enjoyed ourselves tonight. Hope y'all learned something. And yes, you should ask your notary trainer, mentor, coach questions to ensure you're getting the right information so you can execute this business the right way. You have a right to do that, whether you pay for the information or not. If they're asking for your time to hear them run their mouth, just like y'all question me and ask me things, you need to ask them. And I don't care how much money they make. I don't care how popular they are, how cute, how handsome, and all this, that, and the other. They're human beings just like you. They put their clothes on the same way you do. They eat food just like you do. And therefore, you have a right to ask them, hey, is this information is correct, and what makes it correct? That's your right for your business. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.